Mark My Words Productions.
I'm too raw for TV. I'm too raw for TV. I'm too raw for TV. I'm the truth, so you gotta believe me. I'm too raw for TV.
If you hear my voice, you're part of the revolution. Welcome to Too Raw for TV, exclusively on blogtalkradio.com/Too Raw for TV. Man, we got a great show tonight. We're going to be talking about the spirit molecule. And if you guys don't know what the spirit molecule is, that is also known as DMT, dimethyltryptamine. Thousands of years ago, shamans used it to get into an altered state of mind, which was actually this reality, but a little bit different. And we're going to go into it. We got a great guest on the line. Award-winning poet Marc Marcel is going to be on the line. And if you have any questions, definitely call up at 323-410-0036. This is a topic that's been real hot recently because of Joe Rogan of Fear Factor. He's been talking about it a lot. We're going to be talking about it here. Now, dimethyltryptamine, also known as DMT is a common compound composed of carbon, hydrogen, and nitrogen. It has been used for thousands of years, for its rebirth, so to speak, recently and on the scene by shamans and medicine men and things of that nature. And even though it's a commonly occurring substance in most living things, including people and a lot of plants, it is actually a Schedule I drug in America. And it doesn't have any addiction, but it is classified as a Schedule I drug because supposedly it is the most highly hallucinogenic drug there is. Now, as I was saying, we have a great show for you guys. We have award-winning poet Marc Marcel, who's going to be talking a lot about this subject. Marc, you on the line?
Can you hear me?
Hey, what's going on, Marc?
Cool. How you been, man? How you been?
Man, I've been doing great. Now, what led you? Now we're talking about DMT. What led you to the substance? What led you to this experience known as DMT?
Wow. Well, that's kind of almost like a two answer, to that question. But one, which leads you to anything like this, is that you should be more than likely you would be someone who questions. Someone who thinks more out the box, or just who wonders what's going on, with life in general. I learned when I was young, religion, obviously wasn't going to do it for me, because religion restricts you. It holds you back. It tells you if you're asking a question, you're wrong. You should. That's ridiculous. This world is so magnificently, creatively, so many just tried to twists and dimensions to it. How are you not going to question what's going on, So anyway, but really what led me to DMT, the substance, when I was about, when I was like 26, I had a natural experience where I met this young lady who I told her some things that had been going on in my life, and she opened up to me and she started talking to me about out-of-body experiences. And she had these books, and she was like, I need to share this with you. So, I read the books in a matter of 3 days. And I was trying to have an out-of-body experience, but in turn what I did is I channeled myself. It was the most exhilarating experience I've ever had. It was like it was an energy that looked like me exactly. I asked it, I was like, who are you? It was like, I am you. And I was like, my soul? And it said, you can call me that. It was like, and from there, it was like the most exhilarating experience. Nothing compares to it. And so it happened so long ago, I haven't been able to get back. I tried. It was funny because at the end of that, I actually, I was like, well, can I talk to you again? Can I see you again? You're like, I'm always with you. And, it wasn't so easy to get back. So, 7 years later, I bumped into Kimberly again. The young lady's name was Kimberly, who introduced me to the books. I was telling her, I was like, listen, I really want to remain in contact with you because, I'm trying to get into meditation, trying to get back to what's going on because I just felt like, things were just moving so fast in the world, and from that experience just opened me up to different vibrations. Like ever since then, like when I close my eyes, it's never really dark. You know what I'm saying? It's like you could just see things or whatever. But anyway, but I saw her out at this spot, and then I told her, she was like, yeah, of course, we can remain close, And I was like, yeah, because, maybe it's something with your energy, I just want to, see if I can get back. And she was like, yeah, well, have you heard of this thing called DMT? And I was like, no, what's that? And she was like, yeah, it kind of like makes you go through astral projection and gets to that state of when you're having an out-of-body experience. I was like, really? It's like, yeah. She's like, it does it for you. And I was like, wow. And I was like, okay. So, I asked her where could she get it? And she was like, oh, just look on the internet. So she had never done it or didn't know where to get it, but she made it seem easier than what it was like made out to be. But anyway, I did my research. I did about 4 months worth of research with the substance, before I even experience with it. I believe anybody should do research before they do anything. You know what I'm saying? And everything. And everything that it said it was like offering, I felt like I was at that point, that stage in my life where I was ready for it. So it's almost, I guess I searched for it in a way without even knowing what I was searching for.
Really? I hear that. What was your first experience like? I mean, people say that they have spoken to beings, and a lot of different people that experience this have similar visions, which leads a lot of people to believe that is this an alternate reality that people are just tapping into, and this is the reason why it's so illegal. I mean, what was your first experience like? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, it's wild because, I've experienced with this probably close to 50 times now, but and they all are different, and they all are build up. It's wild. But the first experience I had was more like an introduction. I really didn't know how to intake the substance. So let's just say because I didn't have nobody that would really teach me what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? I just went gun ho and was like, I need this, bam. And so I kind of double. I put double the amount that I should, and then it kind of smacked me in my face, and I was gone. And it was an introduction, man. You remember it like a dream. Each experience is all, you remember like a dream. It fades away. So it's best for you to have people around so that you can talk to about your experience. But my first experience, I did it totally by myself. And it was more or less to show me that, hello, we're here, we're watching you, and it's so good to see you. And it was energy, more so. It was in the form of it were beings, and they were waving, and they didn't. When you can't really look straight at them, it's almost like you can look around. You know what I'm saying? You can see around with the form, the outline of it, and So, but with beings, and they were showing me so many things and devices that I couldn't possibly comprehend at the time, and even only a little bit now. With more times that I've gone under, I start to understand what's going on with that and this reality. But at the time, it was kind of it was very calm. It wasn't intense at all. I wouldn't say it was more or less just to show me that you're awake, and we know you're awake, and we're watching you, and things are cool, and everything is fine, But that was the first trip, things, You do it more, you dive deeper down the rabbit hole, things will get extremely intense. That'll put you in check.
So would you say it was similar to maybe like the Matrix movies where you had Neo and he had his...
No, you go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying, do you think that experience, was it similar to that as far as being in contact with this other world?
It is, and it's not, because that's the thing, man. This thing has so many different feelings to it that doesn't make sense when you think about it here, but when you cross, you understand the magnificence of it. But one, you're a part of it, right? But that world, it is almost like you are from the Matrix. You get plugged in, you get plugged into something. Except the Matrix makes it seem like you gotta plug in to something that isn't real. This is the opposite. You're plugging into something that is real. This is what really isn't real. This is what is really created. The physical has been, the physical has been created through, imagination and thought, and thoughts that came from, the world of answers, that realm. So it's kind of the opposite of the Matrix. While he could do all these kind of things in the Matrix, but he was plugging into a reality that wasn't real. This is different. You're plugged into the real thing.
Exactly. Call it 323-410-0036. And now, Mark, we're going to take some questions if you don't mind. 1743. Do you have a question?
All right. Well, my first question is, with the DMT, what does it stand for? The DMT, what is an acronym? Correct?
It stands for dimethyltryptamine. Yes, you are correct. It's an acronym.
And is it a really big conspiracy surrounding the drug? Is it a real big conspiracy surrounding it? Or did people know about it? Like how widespread is you know what I mean?
I wouldn't.
How wide does it go?
I wouldn't really go as far as to say it's such a big conspiracy around it, but I mean, for some reason it is a Schedule I drug, which really, is, when I tell you it's one of the easiest come downs and compared to any drug that you could probably take, it is, you're not like disoriented, for the rest of the day. It's a quick trip, it's like you just take a quick 3 to 10 minute nap, and then it's like you're meditating.
Like the 5-hour energy of drug taking, huh?
Yeah, no, it doesn't even last that long. If you drink ayahuasca, you could have a 5-hour experience, but that's drinking. But it's a lighter experience. It takes you up lightly, and it takes you there to the top. You may remember more, but when you inhale it and do it in a meditative state, and it smacks you in the face, and you cross immediately. You're time for it, and you're going, and it's not to clear something up. Some people think that they're talking to aliens, when they cross and stuff like that. I can see why people would think that if they've done it only a few times. But the more you do it, the more you realize that you're not talking to aliens. You may be talking to souls that have occupied alien bodies before, but you are crossing into a stage of the afterlife. It is the world of the answers. Like you are experienced with a higher realm of consciousness. It's not, and I can understand how people get it confused with aliens, but it's not aliens per se, like people have thought.
Thanks for calling, Young Prime. 3229. Do you have a question about DMT or government secrets?
Yes. Well, actually, my name is Wisdom, calling from Chicago,
All
right.
Doing tonight, Mark. I actually had an experience 2 years ago where I tried DMT for the first time. It was on September 9th, 2009. And just like getting into that zone, I could definitely feel what you were saying, Marc Marcel. It's just like you almost feel like you're talking to the ancestors, you know. Like I had 3 experiences like taking the drug, but it wasn't in the same time. It was like passed down from like a year to the next time when I did it. But the first time I felt like I was just seeing this mandala, and I'm into like the Hindu culture with the swastikas and the mandalas, and you know the Vedic teachings, how it tells you about, you know, the well-being of the soul is what you know man is here for. So that's what I've always been about since I've been getting into the spiritual level. And I've had a few times where I actually, you know, felt like I was in the presence of the like mother, and you know, the divine mother, you know, and I was in this like room, like my second experience, and you know, we were all just together meditating one to the mother for like the creation, and it was just a beautiful experience. It was almost like words couldn't express it. And I'm also into music, so like with like getting into the conscious level of the game, it's like it changed my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I had a time in my life. I'm sorry, sir.
No. You're exactly right. What's fun is that it works. Creators, musicians, artists better adapt to it than people who I would say who aren't. I would say. Also, I want to touch on something you said, because something I've learned when I was doing it. The first 20 times, I did it by myself. I didn't really start getting the answers and really understanding what was going on until I started sharing my experience with people. And when I really started doing it with people, it was such a more profound. And sometimes I found that the room would explain my trip to me sometimes, you know, because just in talking about it, man, it makes you remember. So when you said that you did it with people, I want to touch on that. It's always better to do it with other energy in the room, people, you know, on frequencies and friends. You can do it by yourself. You can definitely get something out of it anytime you go. But it is a higher energy, a higher frequency, and really it's better understood when you have that high volume of energy in the room. So yeah, so I'm glad you called, dude, and I mean you definitely. I'm glad to know there's more people out there doing it other than I have, because I mean, when you know what I'm saying. There ain't no turning back, you know. It's like it's like you know.
Hard, because I'm like only 22, man, and it's almost like sometimes I just wish I had people like you around, like where I can deal with guys on a consistent level and just talk about the stuff I read. You know, I've been like searching since I was a shorty for like, you know, just something more than what I was getting from, you know, going to church and, you know,
no doubt.
Just talking about the white man's the devil, and you know, I just wanted something that was spiritually just cleansing for my soul. And, you know, just meditating and just finding out more about myself, the past, you know, however many years I've been reaching this level, you know what I'm saying?
I feel you, man. You're touching on subjects that I had to go through myself, man. I went through my own I would say I went through my own issues with racism and homophobia until I realized that God is all love. And if God is all love, everything, every creature here, no matter how ugly it has been or wrong people may say it is, goes to heaven. And when you believe that, who are you to condemn anybody? You know what I'm saying? And it breaks stuff down, and it just, oh man, and you're exactly right, man. We're approaching a higher consciousness now. I can see it with the world, and it's so good that people are opening up, and it is time. I mean, you're so right. Black people don't understand that they can be racist too. You know what I'm saying? White man, the devil, this is that. It preaches separatism. It's still separatism, you know.
almost like want to, you know, I'm a writer too. Like what I want to do, my art is like sort of bridge the gap between, you know, the Christians, the Muslims. You know, I want to talk about the Gnostic scriptures. I want to talk about the Sumerian tablets. I want to connect all these stories and tell people that it's us, you know, that we were the creators of this and that we all are going back to the source. So now that we're in the Kali Yuga and, you know, we're dealing with this energy and with the pole shifts and the avalanches and the earthquakes and everything happening in the world, like I feel like conscious people are just rising to that level of understanding where we can flip this and change this, and we are going into a new era, you know, with the two suns, and you know, we can see it physically and I can see it spiritually just with my meditations and just the people I'm connected with in life. So you know, I appreciate you too, Palmetto Starr. I checked out your video on YouTube, and I do have something connected with that Anubis joint because one time when I had my DMT trip, my second experience, I had a moment where I saw Tahuti, and I'm a writer, and I know Tahuti is under the scribe, and that's sort of what my energy is in. So it was like I'm almost feeling like I died from my human self, and I'm sort of getting into that God level.
No doubt, no doubt. Appreciate you calling, man. Keep it raw, keep it raw. I want all the callers to stay on the line. Definitely, if you have a question about DMT, call up 323-410-0036. Now, we've been talking about this sort of psychedelic experience. Why is it best, Mark, to have a coach while undergoing the whole DMT experience?
Because one, you're about to experience something that you've never experienced before in your life. Even your dreams, at least when you're dreaming, you're asleep, you know what I'm saying? But you're not asleep. You're still somewhat conscious through this, you know what I'm saying? What I found is, because I've learned, I've kind of taught myself a lot of things, but still what I've learned is, in the beginning, I kind of, you know, I read, it was like, it makes you pass out. It doesn't make you pass out. It makes you so drowsy that you give into it. You know what I'm saying? And you give into it, and that's what you're supposed to do, because it takes you as far as you give into it. You know, my deepest trips have been where I've been like, you know what, take me. I don't care what happens. Take me. And those have been my deepest trips. Other times when I don't give into it fully, it kind of puts me into a frequency where I may not cross as deep. But it's best to have a coach because, especially for newcomers, they're not going to understand what they're doing. And I can, because I'm familiar with it, but anybody who's familiar with it, who is definitely not under the substance, can look in somebody's eyes and kind of see where they are, where they're at. Now, it usually takes 3 to 4 hits to cross. After the first 2 hits, and you got to hold it in. Each hit you got to hold in as long as you can. But after the second hit, usually people think, you know, they're fine. And, you know, but if you can really talk them, it's like Terrence McKenna said. I'm just echoing his words. He's so right. If you can talk them into taking the third or fourth hit, you know, do so, but don't pressure them. Because, you know, if they're like, no, I'm fine, you know, let them be, you know, because you're taking off, you know, you are going somewhere real, you know. It's funny because we use the word hallucinogen, but it's not a hallucinogen, you know. It is like a meditative form. What I've learned is that my out-of-body experience, astral projection, when I channeled myself, meditation in this DMT realm, all those are like branches to a tree. You know what I'm saying? So, and that tree is like the world of answers, you know. So, yeah.
I also want to ask you, you know, how has the DMT experience influenced your creative endeavors? You know, has DMT changed the way you write?
Oh, man. It has no choice but to. I believe Alex Gray even said this. He said it has no choice but to change your writing, especially if you dive into it. If you dive into it, it has no choice but to do it. It has no choice but to change the person you are. You know, and for the better, especially if you dive into it. If it changes the person you are, it's going to change everything you do. So it's going to change your writing. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. And you brought up Terrence McKenna along with Alex Gray, and you know, a lot of world-renowned scientists, mathematicians, and artists have experienced DMT, and they have similar experiences, which brings into a lot what you're saying. This is definitely more than hallucinogen state. This is something different. This is an alternative reality that we're tapping into. And now you have brought up Terrence McKenna, you have brought up Alex Gray. These are world-renowned artists and world-renowned scientists. You know, a lot of people that are high-ranking in the science and math fields, they're also experiencing with DMT. Why do you think that scientists and mathematicians in particular gravitate toward its use?
Because they want to find out the answers, and they know that this thing will give them the answers. You know, I mean, that's the only reason. I mean, at the root of mathematicians and scientists, that's what, you know, they're there to figure out things. You want to go deeper, you know, you want to figure stuff out, you know. Once you figure one thing out, you got it. You go to the next thing. And at the root of it, you want to know the answers to everything. And this, you know, somehow this substance, which the reason being, to fully explain exactly what it is, dimethyltryptamine, DMT is short for dimethyltryptamine. It is found in almost every living organism. Just as I know, like a lot of people have heard about Joe Rogan talking about it, just as he has said, it's found in every living almost every living organism, plants. It's even found in frogs, and it's found in root bark. Now, more importantly, it's found in your brain. More importantly than that, it's found in your pineal gland, the pineal gland, the part of your brain. And what does that do? It triggers your third eye, and your third eye opens up the world of answers. It is where you come from. It is thoughts. It is consciousness. It's the thing Buddha was tapping into. And shamans and you know, a lot of great thinkers that probably Nostradamus. Now that I think about it, it makes sense. I didn't even think about that till now. Wow, like probably Nostradamus. Like it's so you want the answers, so of course they're going to gravitate to it.
Absolutely. And, you know, a lot of these thinkers are gravitated towards it. So a lot of people have questions, so a lot of people want answers. 5749, what is your question?
Yeah, what's happening, guys? It's Spirit of the Tattoo Poet. Hello, Marc Marcel. How are you?
I'm doing good, brother. How you been, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm trying to get to my phone. Here we go. All right. Yeah, so I've experienced this thing that they call DMT often when I dream as well, because that's
right.
But I did not, as they say, cross.
Right.
But what I did experience was one of the most beautiful experiences ever, because what seemed to happen was a veil from the universe was lifted, and I could literally see something in midair. Like it was almost like reality was dissected. And what I saw was artwork. Just really intricately woven artwork. Me, of course, being an artist, which our listeners can also always check out on tattoopoet.com. But I was just able to just see something different, and I felt very light. I felt like I was about to float out of my body. But that's all. I wasn't able to, as they say, cross. all that good shit. Mr. Marc Marcel, I've been listening to your album. It's a really good album. I don't have a question per se. I just wanted to call in and say, what's up, guys? What's happening, fellas?
I thank you for calling and all like that, for real. But, I mean, I do encourage you. You know, the only thing I would say to that is I've seen people who didn't cross, but also for a number of reasons, maybe it wasn't time or maybe they did cross and didn't realize that they crossed. I find that has happened to me. Because a lot of times a room explains my trip. Sometimes I didn't think I didn't cross, but I come out of it and just in talking to the people around me, I realize I did cross. Because the experience is so magnificent that sometimes it holds you back from seeing a lot, or holds you back from remembering everything.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but also, you know, if you only done, you know, have experience with it once, you know, a lot of times newcomers, you know, they don't, you know, break through per se. Like I can almost feel like even though the first time I felt like I crossed, that was by no means my deepest travels with it. You know what I'm saying? Right. And there have been other times when I didn't cross. So I encourage you just to, you know, just open yourself up.
Keep on. Keep on. Right.
Definitely. And Spirit, I definitely appreciate you calling in, man. Thanks for checking us out at Too Raw for TV. And if you want to check out Spirit, check out tattoopoet.com. He's on there. He's also the host of the Session Live, which is every second Tuesday at the Art Bar in Columbia, South Carolina. Now, Mark, you were talking about different trips and stuff like that people have taken. Now, have you ever seen anyone have a quote-unquote bad trip on DMT?
All right. Yes, I have. Well, I don't call it a bad trip, though, because I just call it an intense trip. Because truly it still shows you something. But I will say I've seen somebody. All right. I've probably experienced DMT with maybe around 30 or so people, maybe 35, I would say. And out of all of them, I've seen one whose first trip, when he saw the beings that came to him, and he loved it. But then afterwards, he said, like a day later, he said, he woke up, he was sleeping in his bed, then he woke up and he found himself in the middle of his floor, then he blacked out, and then found himself in the bathroom. Now, out of everybody I know who experienced this, if somebody was going to tell me that, all right, you're going to do this with 35 people, and one person is going to tell you they're going to have this experience, guess which person this is going to be? I would have guessed that it would be this person.
Really?
So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what that says. You know what I'm saying? But you know, all I say is that didn't sway me. That didn't. You know, when they told me that, I wasn't like, oh, okay. Oh no, you know what I'm saying? I was like, okay, whatever, yeah. That's them. You know what I'm saying? And also I will say this: the people I've done it with, you know, he is on a different frequency, you know, and also they say, you know, you're not supposed to do it when you have any other kind of drugs in your system, like, you know, and alcohol, and he is a heavy drinker, and he was drinking that night, but still, I've also seen somebody go under and was about to cross, and then held themselves back from crossing, you know, and they didn't want to go. It was like, no, I don't want to go, because it is intense, dude. It will show you everything. Sometimes it'll show you the most magnificent things and beautiful things you can never even think of, and then at the time, and then, like, just in the next second, it'll show you the most intense, overwhelming, just like, oh my God, like, what is going on? But it means something. It's not to scare you, it's to teach you. But some people fear what they don't understand, which is totally, you know, understandable here because, I mean, dude, I'm not Superman, dude. I mean, I've had some trips where it totally put me in check. I was like, whoa, okay, I don't want to do this for a few months. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is just, and yeah, man. It's so I've seen it all.
I definitely hear that. What do you think is the most common misconception about DMT?
Well, that it's a drug. I mean, that's plain and simple. I mean, because I mean, people who experience know it's not a drug, you know. But I mean, just it's what shamans have used it, you know, for centuries. You know what I'm saying? It's their rituals. It's Buddha, like I was saying, you know. But obviously, you know, today's society, you know, a lot of things. I mean, marijuana is illegal. Are you kidding me? Like, I've never heard of nobody being high and killing people driving. I heard people drinking and driving, like killing people, you know. But you know, so you know, a lot of things are just you know, backwards, you know, but we're getting there. We're getting there as a society. I see this awakening, you know, what's happening. It's a beautiful feeling, too.
Definitely. And I see a lot more awakening, too. And is this awakening coinciding with the natural events that are happening now, just like the disasters and things like that? I mean, what is your thoughts on this, Marc Marcel? I mean, do you think that the rise in consciousness in general is affecting the weather and our perception of this world?
All right. I'll say this. Look, there are things I know. There are things I don't know. And there are things that I can speculate on. This is something that I'm going to speculate on. All right. And this is an educated guess from what I've seen. You know what I'm saying? And just so people know, whenever, like, I'm actually writing a book about, you know, this stuff. And whenever I sit down and write, and even whenever I cross, I ask only that the truth come through me. You know, just so I'm not tainted with anything. I want to be open to everything. I pray that everything that comes through me is just, you know, of light. But I believe that that's possible. That with all the disasters and stuff like that could be also attributed to a rise in consciousness, but I also don't think that it's necessary, you know what I'm saying, for all the disasters to come for us to have a rise in consciousness. I mean, I don't think it's always necessary. I think a lot of things it also do. People forget that the earth is a living being. You know, the earth is moody. You know, just like people are moody, the earth is moody. The earth has mood swings. The earth goes through puberty, you know? I mean, the earth is like 4 or 5 billion years old or whatever, something like that, you know? I mean, so we also fail to look at all this other stuff and always attribute, you know, take stuff when things happen as negative. Like, oh, my God, God hates us and this. And so I'm not sure, but I will say this. The most important thing there is, the most important, most creative, the most valuable tool that you can use and have and give is love and to share. And when you have that vibration coming through you, man, you know, you realize that everything will be all right. And it's a beautiful feeling to have. Excuse this helicopter playing in the background. They're obviously looking for somebody. Hopefully they're not looking for me. Talking about DMT.
Well, you know, this too raw for TV. Anything's possible, you know. And
yeah, right.
Well, you know, it has affected a lot people's perception about a lot of things. Now, specifically, how has it affected your thoughts on death? I mean, because this is actually DMT is pumped throughout your body when you die.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's the closest thing that you get to a near-death experience.
Yes. All right. Well, first of all, I'm glad you touched on that. one, I have no fear of death whatsoever. Now, I mean, I can't say whatsoever because, I mean, people fear that pain. They're like, is it going to hurt? But, I mean, I have no fear of what's next. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going. You know what I'm saying? I have no fear of what happens next, like, whatsoever. But to explain it, now, DMT, when you're born and when you die, you have the largest amounts of DMT being pumped in your brain. So when you're born and when you die, so when you die, you are having a DMT experience. Now, so when you die, when you're smoking this, that's letting you know you're tampering, you're playing your experience with the afterlife. You know what I'm saying? Because when you die, you're having this experience. Now, what I'm learning is that it's either a stage to the afterlife or it's the afterlife. I think it's a stage to the afterlife. I mean, because you don't fully cross. You don't fully cross until you die. The ego is what keeps you here. Like, it's so. I'm getting into Kabbalah. Like, one thing people like. I should say I've been reading up on Kabbalah, and one thing it's talking about the ego. Now, you need some of your ego because your ego is what tells you are alive. Your ego is selfish. Your ego is selfish enough to tell you that you're alive in this imaginary fake world. Your ego is enough so you have to check it. Otherwise, if you don't check it, it can grow to being selfish enough to be like, you know what, I'm going to scam this person out of money. You know what, I'm selfish enough to rob the store. You know what, I'm selfish enough to be jealous of my friend because he has a good girlfriend. You know what, I'm selfish enough to talk to this person just because he has status or whatever. You have to check that. It's a matter, so you need some of your ego to tell you that you are alive. Because if you have none of it, you're into the world of answers. You're in the afterlife. Because the ego, the selfishness, does not exist in the world of answers. So for you to exist here, you need somewhat of a little bit of an ego to tell you you're alive. But you need to check it. You need to bring it down. You need to tone it. And but yeah, there is no such thing as death. The death, in a sense, it means end. You know what I'm saying? When you look at it, it means end. There is no end. There is a continuation, and actually you're going back to the beginning, you know. That world, whatever, the world of answers made this world, you know. You know, this is what is fake. This is what is created. This is for us to play in. You know, this is just a game to us, basically. It's like we put ourselves into a mystery to have fun, to experience. Basically, in one of my experiences, what I would say is that it tells you, one of my experiences, I went to a source of God, I would say, and it showed me what it kind of looked like, but it also takes different forms. So it's not, I can't say that that's God, but it was giving off this energy, and it was telling me that basically what God is us. God, a being, like I said this in one of my videos, Chronicles of the Mind, a being that knows everything, broke itself down to experience new things, because knowing everything and having nothing new to experience is boring. So you break yourself down into souls, and we make this reality, and we forget, and we experience, and we have fun, and we play, and we experience. But we are God, and we need to let that light shine through us here so we can give ourselves the best possible experience that we can.
Exactly. And another, you know, spiritual experience that a lot of people are experiencing a lot more recently is deja vu, or you could call it happenstance, or you could call it a myriad of things, but it's that deja vu feeling. Now, we have some tracks, exclusive tracks from your new album. Matter of fact, you have made a track called Deja Vu. I'm going to play it now. Is there anything you would like to say about that track in particular?
No, well, yes, you're exactly right. Deja vu is as soon as you awake, you kind of just this just seems like it's like a reoccurring movie or whatever. Like I have deja vu almost like once a week. It's nothing new now. Before it was like, yo, deja vu. Now it's like, yeah, it's deja vu. You know, again, there you go.
Exactly.
But
myself, I don't think I go a day without experiencing deja vu in some shape, form, or fashion. So yeah, it's definitely a powerful experience. It lets you know that, you know, in the Matrix they say that was a glitch in the Matrix when you experience deja vu.
Right.
But we're going to play this track by Marc Marcel, and then we're going to come back and talk about where you can find these tracks, where you can locate Marc, so we could further discuss this DMT thing, because, you know, this is definitely an issue that needs to be put up in the forefront. So this is Deja Vu by Marc Marcel.
I had a horrible dream. And what's worse, I can't wake up.
Nothing seems new anymore. It's becoming just as common as waking up in the morning. The deja vu. Like sometimes even before I walk into poetry venues, I've already pictured the colors, settings, decorations, and designs, even though I had never in my physical existence walked inside. Strange. I don't much recall the people's names, but this is something so familiar by the look on their faces. Like, maybe we met before at the same exact moment in a different time on a different place, in a parallel dimension. And I see it's still hard to recognize each other past the color of our skin. Men have hated me for such things, so sometimes I'm thinking we're here but living something we took for granted. Maybe the first time I walked the planet, I spent my time moonlighting as a carpenter, preaching at synagogues to men that just looked up to me like I was God. Odd, what churches and poetry venues have in common. Some of my fans have even called me their own prophet. So I keep wondering if I'm going to heed the warnings, or if I'm going to keep going down this path I knew all so well. Maybe a microphone is the furthest thing I need to be away from. Maybe I just missed my chance at happiness a decade back before I started performing. Possibly that's why I keep having deja vu, like perhaps it's telling me something I shouldn't do. Possibly that's why I keep having deja vu, like perhaps it's telling me something I shouldn't do. Something I didn't. What? It's been clear that the past is hard to erase. I tell my ex there's no need to worry about if I'm gonna feel guilty for your broken heart. Reality has a hard way of flashing a mirror right in front of your face. And I've been trying to do things differently, but every move I make it's like deja vu was taking over my dreams. I don't know if this is a good thing, but it's like nothing seems new anymore. Kinda like when I stood over the Grand Canyon for the first time. I was unamazed, like I've seen this before. I've seen you before, listening to me perform. Somehow I've known this shit all along, like the words to a song. So it just makes me wonder if I'm doing something wrong. Like maybe I'm just blowing it, walking down roads I'm comfortable with. And I've been in denial for a while, knowing there's something more I want now. Knowing the further I walk down, it gets that much harder to turn around. And I know how it sounds, the deja vu, showing us flashes of lives we've already lived through. It's just that nothing seems new anymore. And it's been the hardest thing for me to fully accept in my life. That just maybe, I might be making the same mistakes twice.
It's been a brilliant journey of self-awakening. Now you've simply got to ask yourself this. What is happiness to you?
I don't want to dream any longer. I want to live a real life.
That was real profound. That was Marc Marcel. That was Deja Vu from his up-and-coming album. And I do have a couple more questions, man. How do you think DMT could potentially affect the religious institutions that have been so hard against releasing this information that all their saints and patrons and have used?
It's become obsolete. First of all, I mean, DMT, first of all, when you know, you know. You know what I'm saying? Now people, it'll become obsolete, man. I mean, one, religion is based on fairy tales. You know what I'm saying? And it's a control system. God doesn't care about all the things that religion tries to make it out to be. Man, God wants you to experience the love that you can, and He wants you to get it right. And getting it right is just experiencing what you can. You know what I'm saying? And just, trying to do the best that you can and share and love. And there is no judgment. You judge yourself. It's like Danny and Brinkley said. I believe I may be pronouncing his name incorrectly, but like when you die, you almost have like a panoramic life review. You see your life before you, and you feel it, and each scene that you have in your life, and you go through it. You remember how you felt, but you also live it, and you're in that other person's shoes, and you remember how they felt. There's no God judging you. You're judging yourself, and you're your harshest critic, and you think the stuff here don't bother you, but man, when you cross, it's another consciousness. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's another feeling. You see it, you're like, oh man, I gotta get this right. You know, and so that's important. You know, we just need to love each other, and it's so good to be alive too. Also in this point in time in history, this is the greatest moment, I believe, in the history that we know of, that we've been here. I mean, first black president, as atrocious as it was, the towers falling. I mean, we've lived through that. We saw it. The internet, going to the moon. What? Are you kidding me? I mean, what's next? There's a lot that's next, and it's coming. It is coming, but it's important that we love each other.
Definitely. Now, is there a correlation between DMT and freeing yourself psychologically? Because I know a lot of people, they may be at the crux where they don't know, they think they're free, but they may be psychologically entrapped or enslaved in some way. Can DMT affect that, or actually free that person mentally? Does it have the potential to do that?
It can, because I will say that probably about 8 months ago, I went through, one of the darkest periods in my time. I was scammed out of some money, and he lost a friend over it, who I called a friend. Like this, I love this dude, but and some other things to that. But through diving in deeper in the experience and doing more reading, it's also important that I stress, like, it's not just the DMT. You also have to be this type of person, it's like, that wants to experience more. You have to read. You have to do the legwork, like Kabbalah says. You have to do the legwork here. You just can't experience DMT and be like, oh, what an experience. Okay, cool, I'm good. No, you got to take the knowledge that you learn there, and you got to incorporate into your life today. You know what I'm saying? And once you do that, it's not even, the DMT is just a tool. You can do that without the DMT. It's about incorporating, living your life that the best that you can, and sharing an experience, and just giving, the love and energy off to people.
Definitely. Well, do you think that DMT can affect depression positively? I know there's been a lot of experiments where, and I'm not from, I know I'm going to say this wrong, the Ashawala, the drink with the DMT, with that as well.
Ayahuasca,
Ayahuasca, yes. And they use that in different experiments with people experiencing depression, and it had a lot of different results. I mean, do you think that DMT can positively affect depression?
Oh, definitely, because it shows you that your problems are nothing or meaningless. Why do you give such little things such a large amount of energy? Your problems are nothing. They are nothing. We spend more time, like Kabbalah also teaches, reading that we spend like 80% of our time worrying about stuff, and 70% of that stuff isn't even going to happen or has already happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, so basically, we're spending 80% of the time worrying about stuff that doesn't even matter, and yeah, it lets you because it shows you the answers, man. And when you see the answers, one thing I've crossed one time, one of my experiences, I crossed, and I asked it. I was like, I want to know everything. I want to know the answers. And it said, the answers? I said, yes, I want to know the answers. And it said, Mark, why are you asking questions for answers you already know? And I was like, huh? And it said, you already know everything. And I was like, I do, don't I? And it's like, yes, you do. And you do. You know everything, man. You really do. You just can't. You know, I started asking people this lately. It was like, hey, do you ever feel like you're in your own movie? You know, and everybody else is like just a character, you know, aiding you along the way. But this is your own movie, you know, and but they're not telling you, you know. It's like, and it's funny because in one of my trips I came out of it, and in the session, and they were looking at me like, they were looking at me like, and I know this was the energy that was brought into the room still being echoed from my trip, like being placed around them. And they were looking at me smiling like, oh, you're so close, you're so close. Like you almost know it, you almost know it. And it's like they just don't want to tell me. It's for me to figure out. So I tell people, man, and to even just take this even on a deeper note, I know we're running out of time, but I really want to end on this note. Because I didn't really touch on civilizations here and how it came to be, you know, human beings, because that's such a deep thing, you know. But I used to ask, you know, how did we all come here? How did we get here? You know, it can tell you that. It can give you the answers to that, how civilization was here. But I tell people, you know, people have this big assumption, you know, whether we were created from apes and stuff like that, or even if we came from aliens, or, you know, or even if we came from aliens, but, you know, it's deeper than that. I tell people, we didn't come from the stars. We made the stars. You know what I'm saying? We made this. We made this for us to experience. So we need to experience it and enjoy it and love it, you know, because we made it for ourselves to experience. It's the greatest, this physical, the greatest gift that ever is, that ever was. We need to experience it and make it. And that's what the DMT shows you. So, yes, of course, it can definitely heal depression.
Now, where can they find you at online? What is, like, the album that you have out now? I mean, people have questions. They want to know what's going on. They want to know about where they can find your stuff and all that stuff online. Can you let them know about that?
Well, yeah, you can find all my stuff downloadables with CD Baby and iTunes. Just look up, type in my name, Marc Marcel. Go to my website, marcmarcel.com, MarCel.com. You can also go to marcelradio.com and hear live stream 24-hour poetry, a lot of underground stuff that I didn't release, and some cuts that I put out. The album that I have out currently is my greatest hits, Time Capsule. It's a 4-disc set, 60 poems, 30 remixes. Mike Greggs did half of those remixes. That's my cousin. He's a dopest producer I've met. And the album I'm about to drop, the tracks you play tonight are from my album to be released in a couple of months called Stardust. And I'm looking forward to doing that, man.
Exactly. Definitely. And I appreciate you coming through, Marc Marcel. Man, check him out online. Check out his all the stuff that he could download. You could download, and check out his new album, man. I mean, he's doing some phenomenal things, man. Appreciate you coming through, man. Definitely.
I thank you, Palmetto, man. You're a good dude, man. Man, I had so much fun. I thank you, man. For real, man.
Hey, no doubt, man, no doubt. And anytime, man, you know, feel free to call up and call, you know what I'm saying? And you're part of the Too Raw for TV family now, man. So that's what it is.
Peace. This is Brother Spirit, the Tattoo Poet, host of the Session Live. Turn off your TV, ladies and gentlemen, and if you need me, I will never be available on Thursdays at 11 p.m. because I'll be chilling with my boy Palmetto Starr on Too Raw for TV. blogtalkradio.com/Too Raw for TV.
I know they give me respect, even before walking the venue, they see a tatted on my neck.